Welcome back to the Whatnauts review show. My name is Kyle Springer, and I am joined by Melissa Wilkinson. Melissa, how are you doing?
Moderate. I'm getting over a bad sinus headache thing, but I'm here. We're both here. We made it. Through the power of Nicolas Cage, we've made it.
We have indeed. Thank you for your sacrifice, for trekking it out here to cyber podcast land. And podcasting with us. You guys might notice that there is not really a video version. We've been having some technical difficulties. This is like round 14 of us trying to record this, and everything keeps just breaking. But yeah, audio only podcast this week for a fun one. I think our 4th of July episode, where we have a fairly recent tradition of doing a Nicolas Cage movie, our very own national treasure, Nicolas Cage. I got to pick the movie for this one. I was super excited that you let me pick this.
It was fun to be surprised.
Yeah, I've mentioned it to you on some of our podcasts here and there over the years, but I have this specific memory of when I was a child. I don't remember exactly when I took this trip, but I took a little brief vacation to go visit a friend of mine who used to live near me and then moved away. And so it was like a couple years after he moved, I went to go visit him. It was
Were you an unaccompanied minor, or did your folks go with you?
My folks did not go with me, but I was accompanied. There was another girl. She was younger than me. I think her name was Allison, if I remember correctly. And then there was an adult that was accompanying us. All of us were going to visit that family. They had 3 kids. I was the same age as the middle one. The girl was the same age as the younger sister. And then the adult that accompanied us was visiting the parents. So the oldest sibling had no one. I think he was off at college by then, but still, yeah.
So the 3 of you don't know each other, but you all know somebody in this family?
We did.
So you had to become a family unit to travel?
We were a found family. No, we knew each other from the same church. That's how all of us knew each other. But yeah, weird, complicated, like just a big random group of us. So there I am, this young kid on an airplane, probably playing my Game Boy or something. And every so often I'm looking up in between the seats and I'm watching this movie that this person is watching. I'm old enough to recognize Nicolas Cage, but I'm not old enough to recognize what movie it is. And for the life of me, I have never been able to figure out what movie it was that they were watching. And so I've dedicated this podcast episode to taking a stab at trying to figure out what movie this is. So yeah, for our Nicolas Cage 4th of July Cage match, it is also Christmas in July. We are watching a Christmas Nicolas Cage movie entitled The Family Man. Melissa, had you ever heard of this movie before?
Yes, I remembered the trailers quite distinctly. It is the first time I ever heard the Talking Heads song. What's the... I'm on a lot of sinus medicine. What's the Talking Heads song that's in the... You don't know. Why am I asking?
I have no idea. I was an 8-year-old or who knows how old.
It's the same as it ever was. The big Talking Heads song everybody knows.
Sure.
Dayquil, I'm smart. Once in a lifetime. Google knows. Thank you. First time I ever heard that song was in this commercial, because the movie is about Nicolas Cage. This is not his beautiful house. This is not his beautiful wife. He wakes up and he's like, I never signed up for any of this. What am I doing here?
Yeah. we'll get to a plot synopsis in just a sec. But yeah, this is number 296 of the Whatnauts review show. If you guys did not know, every episode we have a new story to talk about. It could be a movie, a TV show, an anime, a comic, an audio drama, all sorts of stuff. We read it, we watch it, we come back here and talk about it. Had to get our spiel in before we get to all of the in-depth stuff. This might be a bit of a shorter episode considering it's a holiday. There's technical difficulties. Melissa, you're not feeling the greatest. So yeah. The Family Man, starring Nicolas Cage. We're all over the place.
You just stop me mid-memory and you're like, I have to say the spiel or I'll forget the spiel.
It would have been half an hour in, be like, each and every week we have a difference.
296 episodes in.
Right, yeah. So The Family Man by Nicolas Cage. Yeah, you briefly mentioned it.
Family Man by Nicolas Cage.
Is that what I said?
His
You're
memoir.
the one on medicine. I don't know. It is basically kind of in the same ballpark as It's a Wonderful Life. This man who abandons this relationship to go pursue his career. They both go their separate ways. Becomes this big like Wall Street financial guy. And then through a simple act of kindness is kind of transported into an alternate reality, I guess you could say. It's not sci-fi, time travel, all that stuff. It's just like he wakes up.
It's an angel. It's a
different bed. Yeah. He wakes up in a different bed with his high school, college sweetheart. They have 2 kids. They have a dog. They have a whole life together. And he's just like, what happened? How did I get here? This is wrong.
I live in a penthouse.
This is not it. Yeah.
I wear $5,000 suits.
Ferrari. I need my fancy car, not this minivan that's out in the driveway here. Yeah, I don't have any kind of distinct memories of this movie as a kid, besides this is potentially the plane, the one that I saw on the plane. So I really did not know what to expect for this. And of course, I wasn't actually watching the movie on the plane. I was playing my Game Boy or listening to Matchbox 20 or Creed in my headphones or something. I don't know.
Early 2000s hits for church boys. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. But I think now, having watched this as an adult, the vibes are there. This could potentially be it.
You don't know for sure?
I don't know. So here's the thing. When I looked and picked out this movie, I looked at movies of Nicolas Cage movies between like 1997 and like 2004. It has to be one of the ones in that time period, because that's probably... because I was not in high school. I don't think I was in middle school. So it had to have been like late elementary school age. But then it had to have been on like an airplane entertainment system. So that like couple of like maybe like from a couple years ago, from 1997 to yeah. And there were like 2 or 3 that it could potentially have been. I thought this was the most likely. This was probably it. I'm willing to bet this was probably it.
Do you remember Nicolas Cage doing or looking any specific way on the plane?
No, it was an adult movie. It was more of a drama. It felt more like a romance kind of thing.
Was it City of Angels?
I don't know. When did that one come out? Do you know? I can
Google
think that
it
was
right now.
One of the ones I thought.
City
maybe.
of Angels, 1998.
Then
this stars him,
potentially
Meg Ryan.
could have been that one. Because there was that one, there was the Family Man that we watched, and I think something else that I was like, maybe, I don't know.
We should have done all of them, and then in this episode we could have decided for
the
sure.
shotgun
We looked at
approach.
3 different options. The answers in here. We have all our suspects in one room. The murderer is here.
But I, for some reason, have a distinct memory of like it being Christmas time, and he goes up to the house to like at the big climax to be like, no, I'm staying, or it's like I'm here, and or like I choose you relationship. And I for some reason have a distinct memory of him knocking on a red door. But it was so long ago, I don't remember enough of this that I don't know if I'm making that up or not. So that's all I'll say on the airplane stuff. I don't know 100% if it was it, but I think this is. All the vibes are there.
They're there.
Yeah, I had an okay time watching this one. I thought it was.
I also did.
Just kind of mediocre, to be honest.
Yeah, with the awareness that this was a Christmas movie, most Christmas movies tend to linger in the public consciousness. Every Christmas movie is like somebody's favorite that they put on every year, or this will be on ABC Family's 25 Days of Christmas, or the local movie theater when they're doing their holiday screenings, like come out and see Elf again, or Polar Express. They'll throw one of these in. I have not. I'm holding up the DVD.
Oh, wow.
It's not a. It's an audio episode, so the audience can't see, but you can see this DVD I rented from my local library. I
do solemnly swear that Melissa did rent this from her local library. I'm seeing her holding it up.
This looks like a Christmas card. This looks like Nicolas Cage and Téa Leoni took their family photos to Walgreens and was like, make a card for us that we can print out and mail to our friends' Walgreens photo lab. It fits right in.
Yeah,
so I was
absolutely
curious. Everything in this movie seems like it should be, if not a classic, at least part of the Christmas bench. It'll show up somewhere. And there's nothing
about that.
In theory, in design,
sure, yes,
people love a Christmas movie, a little bit of magic realism. People like Nicolas Cage. And I watched the movie and I'm like, this is competently done. The director is Brett Ratner, who I believe has had some problematic issues in recent years. But even that I understand would like not put this in the rotation now. But even before that, I'm like, I'm not quite sure why this one slipped through the cracks. It's not remarkable, but there's, within the content of the film itself, no real red flags around it.
If
perhaps
I'm not
only
mistaken,
red and green flags together for holiday spirit.
If I'm not mistaken, this was his follow-up to Rush Hour. It was
Weird.
A Rush Hour sandwich. He did Rush Hour in 1998, The Family Man in 2000, and then Rush Hour 2 in 2001.
I don't know what type of food a Rush Hour sandwich would be, but you said that and I got so hungry.
It's great. Yeah, so it's interesting because, I think you're right. It has all of the, it checks all the boxes for what you would think would be in, ABC's 25 Days of Christmas. And I think it does solidly check them all, but it's also just checked. The boxes are just barely checked. I don't think it was too rom-com-y. It's not too romantic. It's not too comedic. It's not even
too Christmassy.
Yeah.
There's a Valentine's Day sequence also.
Yeah, it's like late holiday season, early New Year's. It's cold. There's snow outside. Winter. Sometimes. Yeah.
Yes.
So it felt competent in that way, but also just felt like it kind of blends in with nothing. If that sounds harsh, but it just kind of disappears.
Yeah, it's odd. I watched this and it was a little better than I thought but there's nothing really special about it. It's a solid Cage performance, and it's a surprisingly straight down the middle Cage performance. He's doing, at the beginning, when he first lands in this alternate universe, he's really freaking out, but it's not in like the top 15 Nicolas Cage freakouts.
Right.
And the rest of the movie, he's doing good work, but it's like probably not what you really come to Nicolas Cage looking for. Téa Leoni plays his wife in this. Téa Leoni is like the most beautiful woman I've ever seen.
She has a great performance in this too.
I think she's very good in this, but I can't name that many other things she's been in. So I don't know if her career really took off. Maybe she was on like a Showtime show for years that I just never watched and don't remember. All I know about Téa Leoni
is film. She was in Jurassic Park 3. She was in Spanglish. If you remember that one.
All I know about her is that she used to be married to David Duchovny, and there's an X-Files episode in season 6 that he directed where in the world of the X-Files, Hollywood is making a movie about the X-Files, and Téa Leoni plays herself playing Agent Scully. That was the one thing I knew her from. This is the first time I've really watched her, and I'm like, why have I never seen more of her? She was really lovely.
Yeah, that's kind of about it. She
and
doesn't
I wonder
really
if that's
do all that much.
I wonder if that's part of it. You've got a solid Cage, but it's not everyone's favorite mode of Cage. And you've got an actress who I really enjoyed in this role, but maybe does not have this enough draw to pull it into the recurring catalog of films.
Yeah.
I'm happy I watched this, that I know what it is. There's neat stuff in here. Like I said, it was a little better than I was expecting. But it is also like, oh, that's all. Okay. Fine. Adequate. You're right. Adequate. Check.
Check the
Good.
boxes. Indeed.
Right. This is, watching The Family Man is like getting a candy cane in your Christmas stocking. You're not excited, but you're like, yeah, that's what it was supposed to be. It's candy cane. It's mint. It's twisted. That's correct.
Cool. Well, I think normally we would take a break for housekeeping. I'm gonna say let's just kind of skip housekeeping and go straight into the spoilers. Right.
Well, then when do we do
it? We won't. We'll just right here say, hey, thanks to all of our Patreon supporters. Wow. Patreon.com/the Whatnauts. If you want to support us, that's where you can do it.
Let's freehand this. Last time on the review show, we watched seasons 1 and 2 of The Bear in preparation for season 3 of The Bear, which is on Hulu right now. Go watch it.
Mm-hmm.
Over on the Captain's Log, I don't remember what we talked about last time, but next time is our big trivia night. So look forward to that. I don't know, that's it. Yeah. We don't have much house to keep. This episode already has such weird energy around it. Let's keep going.
Indeed. I will, however, hit our spoiler button here. So if you don't want spoilers for The Family Man, now is your time to tune out. Cool.
The weirdest thing about this movie to me that goes uncommented upon is that when he goes to sleep as Wall Street Nicolas Cage, we see him get into bed and he's wearing these sleek black briefs. And when he wakes up in the bed next to Téa Leoni, he's wearing boxers. So not among all the other parts of his life that are different, if he stayed with Téa Leoni, he's on a path where he's a boxers man instead of a briefs man.
Yeah. Interesting.
Which I asked a lot of questions about that. I don't know how normal that is. Can I ask you, as a man, do you like find one kind that you like and that's just you for the rest of your life, or do you go through phases?
I maybe really long phases. I used to be a boxers person. I'm not. I'm more of the like boxer the trunks now. Is that what they're called? I don't know. I only asked because you told me about.
Exactly. This is why I asked, because you've talked about how much you like MeUndies, so that does give me an idea.
Yeah.
skin is you're wearing, so it doesn't feel that invasive to ask.
Yeah, no, I don't care. Yeah, I don't know. I wonder if it is just like costuming department's way of commenting on this like idea of an alternate universe, like how different
Perhaps.
of a person he can be. Like, is he wearing all black and now he's wearing all white? Is he boxers or is he briefs? Yeah, I don't know. To be honest, not something I noticed or paid attention to, but interesting.
I don't know why, but
though.
I thought about it a lot.
Interesting point, though. Yeah, it is kind of just a strange on how not many people seem to also react to his strange, like they do, like he is strange. They do worry, like he worries them a little bit when he just like leaves on Christmas morning and doesn't really come back. But even the way his like best friend is seeing him react to like the chair in his man cave moved in a different, he's just like, all right, something's off, but you're fine. All right, let's go. Like, there is just this kind of acceptance to, you seem weird, which I felt like was not commented on, or like him not knowing, like, how do you not know her schedule? Do you not know where her school is? Do you not, like, that's not an avenue they go down.
It's commented on in one regard, which is that in this world, he has a little girl who's like 5 or 6 and a baby, like a 1-year-old. And he has to change the baby's diaper. And the little girl is like sitting there in the room watching him. And he doesn't know what he's doing. And she's like, you're not my dad. Like, I can tell you're not my dad. And he says, I'm not, but I know your dad really loves you and he'll be back soon. Like, he has no ill will against these kids. He does not want to scare them. And she like pokes his face like the little kids in Hook poking at Robin Williams. See if Peter's really in there. Yeah. And she's like, the aliens did a good job making a daddy replicant.
That's a great one.
And it's kind of cute that then the girl, I don't believe it. I sort of believe it. That the girl thinks this is an alien sent to replace her dad, at least for a little while, like some sort of an experiment. And she takes it upon herself to like tell him things like, you take me to winter camp and then you take Josh to daycare. Then you go work at the tire store and then you come back and you pick me up for ballet, and ballet is an hour long. And I can believe I was a smart aleck little girl once. And I do empathize with and believe the joy she might take in, oh, I know something that a grown-up doesn't know. I'm proud to be able to tell him.
Yeah.
That seems absolutely natural. And I think this little girl's a very good performer. But just to be like, oh, my daddy's been replaced by an alien and I don't know when he's coming back. I'm just going to keep going. I'm not going to tell mom or anybody.
Yeah, it is kind of one of those things, though. The way she rationalizes it, right, is aliens. They stole my dad. They replaced him. And it's not like she's scared of like, oh, there's aliens.
She's just curious.
Confirmed.
Yeah.
I figured it out. No one else knows. Like, it's not that.
I'll tell the newspapers.
It is more of she's not apathetic either, but she is just kind of resigned to realizing, I'm the kid. I don't have any power here. An adult wouldn't believe me if I said the aliens replaced my dad, right? Even though it's not actually aliens that replaced his dad. That's just, but she just kind of sighs, and it's almost like an annoyance of like, well, I guess it's going to be not my real dad for the next couple of weeks, right?
I'm going to get subpar chocolate milk because he doesn't know how to make it.
Yeah, exactly.
Beyond it being chocolate plus milk.
She's like, all right, I guess I'll deal with it, but not ideal, right? And that's just it. Like that's her. She's just resigned.
I'm like, that's all? Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know.
The funniest part in the movie, though, is when it's after they've gone to the mall and they're driving home at night and the kids are asleep. And Leone is saying something about the kids. And the little girl's name is Annie. And then Nicolas Cage says, very nonchalantly, as if he's talking about a colleague, yeah, I like Annie. And then she looks at him weird and he's like, I love her. I mean, I love my daughter, Annie.
She has he has a real like platonic friendship.
Yes.
I
Again,
like her.
Colleagues.
She's a good kid.
Good to work with.
Yeah. Yeah, she's due for a promotion. We should up her allowance, right? God, yeah.
How
that's a great one.
People do notice that he's acting strangely, and it happens for a long time. This was another surprise that he arrives on Christmas morning when normally that is the climax of a story like this. It ends at Christmas morning. It ends under the Christmas tree. You don't even see under the Christmas tree. He wakes up in bed, the kids run in, he like runs out, he like comes back that afternoon after Christmas is essentially over. And then he hangs around. He's stuck there through like February.
A couple months. Yeah.
It's a weird length of time that it's not entirely within the Christmas season or lasts a whole year until the next Christmas. And then we get to see him do Christmas right.
Yeah.
Strange length of time. It's long enough that you think there should be more in the story. And it's weird that it never escalates to the point where somebody really starts to take his strangeness seriously. Like there's never a question of like, you should see a doctor. I'm going to call somebody. You're going to be taken away. It never gets to that high of stakes.
Right. Yeah.
And I don't know if I want it to, but it's strange. He is being weird enough that it feels like something's missing, that there's no real consequences for him being this weird.
Yeah, and it seems strange to me too, because he does start to kind of get in the routine. There's the morning he wakes up on his anniversary with his wife, and the alarm goes off. He kind of rolls out of bed, starts heating up the milk for the baby. Like he's in the routine, right? And even when he realizes that like there's no way he could have known it was their anniversary, right? Because this is all new to him. He tries to take her out to this super expensive restaurant, and she ends up having a phenomenal time. And I think that night he makes real progress.
Yes.
Not only fitting in, but with her and being like, hey, I actually like what we have here. Like what we have is a good thing, and this is worth staying for. This is worth fighting for. Maybe I should have chosen this instead. And then he almost backpedals that pretty immediately when he then is like, but wait, I'm smart enough to be like a big finance guy on.
Yeah.
And then he's like, well, I'll get my old job. We'll buy this new fancy house. And he's just immediately goes right back to being selfish. And he rationalizes it, of course, by being like, well, if I have more money, I can take care of my family. But the way he's doing it is in this way that like he's never gonna see his kids. It's not really what she wants. Like he just starts to do it all without consulting them.
To mention the movie Hook again, I was the type of kid that did emphasize that I had empathy with
empathized. Yes.
Thank you. Not emphasize, like I underlined it and wrote it in bold. This medicine's doing a number on me more than I thought. I was the kid who saw an adult in a movie who had to go to work, and the kids in the movie were like, oh, my dad's always at work. And I, in the real world, was like, yeah, dads do that. Sometimes dads do important work. Sometimes parents of any kind need to do important work.
How else will I get my dinosaur chicken nuggets if dad doesn't go to work?
Sure. And, like my mom worked in a hospital and my dad like worked at a plane factory. Like they did things that I could kind of understand were important parts of the world,
Yeah.
And I always got frustrated when the kids did not, or at least when there wasn't a part where the adults really sat down with the kids and was like, do you understand what I do for a living? Do you understand who else is relying on me? I will be there. I will go to your game, but please understand I cannot go to every single baseball game. I will try harder, but there are times somebody else does need me. And in this, and I always wish there was more of a discussion of, wow, work is not always the bad guy. It's always career versus something. And it's career versus family. And there was never enough of the family trying to understand what are the demands of this career? What do you do? How can we share? What are like boundaries that can be set so that you spend time with me, but that you do also have space to do work that might be very important, actually,
Yeah.
And so this is a movie where it's very much career versus family. It's one or the other. And I was intrigued when he tries to merge the two. He's like, now that I do have this family life,
yeah,
and I find out that I like it, I still have all the knowledge from when I was a career man. Can I do both? Do I have the perception and the perspective now to do both? And he almost pulls it off. And she's like, no, I don't. Like, I don't want to live in the middle of the city. Like, we moved out to the suburb because that's where our kids are. That's like the place to raise our kids. I'm not raising our kids in a Manhattan penthouse in this like glossy, like architectural digest apartment. I want to go back to our house that's covered in crayon drawings.
We have a dog. Where will we walk the dog? That's going to be a hassle, right? The kids can't go walk the dog. They might be able to in this suburban neighborhood, right? Yeah.
I do like the idea that it's his job to go and take the dog for a walk, but he just landed in this world and he's like, I'm not entirely sure I know how to get home after I take the dog for a walk. Which house is mine?
Right, yeah. And
like he almost gets lost.
This was even
I would have liked if that was a whole subplot.
Map Quest was even really a thing. So he has like big paper fold out map that he's trying to figure out.
I was wondering, I kind of remember this movie being around when I was a kid. Exactly what year was this? And then I see the Twin Towers and I'm like, oh, it's that year. It is the year 2000. Precisely.
Indeed. Yeah. Yeah, he's certainly going through it, but he is like he does pretty quickly see the value of his family and the life that he has there. And I think it's difficult for him because he had like when in the scene when they're in the mall and he's looking at the suit, he says this line. He's like, when I'm in a suit like this, I feel like myself, or like
he's like, I feel like a better man in the suit, which I think is a nice point to make. First off, it's extreme that suit in 2000 cost $2,400. Like, that's the sort of price tag I would expect now. That seemed really preposterous for the time. Can't even imagine a suit of that price. And if it is a suit of that price, why are you also shopping at this mall? Like, if that suit exists in the mall, how is anything else in the mall within the price range for this family?
Right.
I don't think they just have like an Oshkosh bagosh. Also,
like, certainly not like, at the Big and Tall store, right? Like,
right. But I think that's a nice point that he makes, and it's something. It's something that is a little shallow, a little greedy, but has enough sincere.
Yeah.
He's like, this is the version of myself that I really like, and I like to have nice things, and I like to look good. Like, he means it enough that it is poignant when Téa Leoni goes and buys him the closest equivalent of the suit that she can find at an outlet mall.
Yeah. And it is also interesting to me that they don't as much as I said, like, it felt kind of like a step back when all of a sudden he was like, I can mix the two. I can go get my old job and all that stuff. I think you're right that there is also potentially room for that. Like, well, can he work in like a smaller like firm, like financial firm that might be outside the city slightly, or something like that? Can she take on high, like, why does she have to always work pro bono cases? Can't she take like, one or two on a year? Like, I don't know. They seem like they have room to grow.
Right. He tries to merge things and she turns down all of it. And she makes very good points. Like, I am on her side, but I am still a little perplexed. There's not another step. There's not anything else you can try. After as far as he's gone, it's still the conundrum from the beginning of the movie. It's work or it's family. There is no possible mix of the both of them.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, it's just, it's interesting. Like, it made more sense if the other version of Nicolas Cage, which we don't even get to see in this movie,
not much, no,
didn't really have that same institutional knowledge of the financial sector because he never truly pursued it like the other version did. It would, like, that would make more sense, where it's like, okay, he's stuck at this like smaller tire business salesman job, but yeah, they both seem like they are very capable of taking some sort of next step. And that's also not discussed.
When he goes to Big Ed's tire warehouse and he asks, do I have any sort of an office here? I was shocked that, yes, he did have an office.
Yeah.
And to him, it's like, this is some paltry little office. This looks nothing like my big, fancy Manhattan office in the world I come from. But I'm like, oh, you have an office at all? I thought the joke was going to be, oh, no, we're out here on the floor. Here's your clipboard. Here's your coffee cup with a dumb joke on it. Go out and sell tires and shake hands. Like, he is better off in that world than I thought he was. And it's not as sharp of a contrast as I was expecting. And it might have been more effective if the contrast was sharper. Where no, you don't have an office of any kind.
Yeah. He is smart enough. Like, he does have some of that financial knowledge and that sales person experience. I think he has helped them out enough to, they can have a bigger building with offices in there. And he said they just landed some big deal with a trucking company to supply all of their tires and stuff like that. So he is doing well for himself.
Well at tires.
But yeah, interesting.
I love
interesting stuff.
The tire shop's owned by his father-in-law, and his father-in-law, even though they live in New Jersey, his father-in-law is a cowboy, and his name is Big Ed. And there's a big painting of Big Ed outside Big Ed's tires where he's dressed like the cowboy. And I wish more businesses were like that in real life, where there's a painting of the owner and the owner is some sort of caricature. Like, not that they turned him into a caricature to be a mascot of the store. That's just that guy to begin with. That's just him and his off hours also.
Can we talk a little bit about the romance between the two characters? What are their names? It's Jack and what's her name again?
It's Jack and Kate, funnily enough.
Jack and Kate. We'll circle back around to that in just a sec. But yeah, let's talk about the romance between them. What did you think of them kind of like re-falling in love there in this movie?
A scene early on when he's in this alternate universe he's like sitting on the bed reading or like watching C-SPAN, like trying to understand the stock market of this world because that's his top priority. He's like, how do I get back to my world, my stock market? She comes in all excited, like the kids are asleep. And she's like tearing her like dowdy mom sweatshirt off, like, it's sex time. This is our one window to do it. And it's nice that she is excited about it. Like, he's not going to a world where he wound up with his childhood, with his like college sweetheart, and there's no spice left in the marriage. Like, he married his college sweetheart And they are still in love with each other. Like, she is still excited to be with him and to be with him in any opportunity she can find. But then he falls asleep before they can actually have sex. Not in a funny way, more of like he's really learning to be comfortable here. He's so comfortable he fell right asleep. Doesn't even get to see her in her nice lingerie. They don't have sex until very late in the movie. I was surprised. I was surprised when I picked up the DVD and I noticed it was a PG-13 when I was sure it was an R. I think I was picturing something else from some other movie where it was much more sexual. Something else I saw in some trailer. It's relatively chaste. Like, sex is a concept, but they don't talk about it in any specific way.
Yeah. Yeah. To me, like their relationship was interesting because, when they do finally start to have sex, like he has this almost tender moment with her where he stops like mid and like just like comments on her beauty and like, I've never fallen out of love with you, and it's just this nice moment between them that I thought was really real. My mind also goes to the scene where she's eating the slice of cake and he was like, I wanted that, and she runs off with it, and then she smashes it in his face and stuff like that while they're on the stairs.
That was the one thing I knew about this movie besides what I remembered from seeing the trailer when I was 10. It was some animation loop in early internet days of, do you want this cake? I want it. Do you want this cake? I want it.
I do vaguely remember that. But it's strange because it is both a really fun and funny moment. It is intimate, right? But it also, it's a moment that feels weird for both of their performances. The way Nicolas Cage says, I want it, right? And even the way she's kind of like laughing and chuckling and delivering her line, there's just something strange about the whole thing, but it's still really endearing. I don't know. It's just it's one that sticks in my mind for sure.
It is sweet. It is one of the more like sort of fun and playful sex adjacent scenes you would see in a movie. When I was a kid, I mentioned that I was the kid who like really tried to put myself in the shoes of the adult in any movie and see things practically from their side. I had a mild reaction to this movie when I watched it now, but I really would have liked this if I had watched it when I was 10 years old, because I always wanted to know what adults were doing. I loved a sad adult man making a change in his life.
Sure.
And the movie is, like I said, it's relatively chaste. There's just like the one neighbor who's real cleavagey and wishes she could have an affair with him, which is interesting that he lands in this world and can tell and isn't sure, is alternate universe me having an affair with this woman, or is she just this flirtatious all the time? And she has to confess, no, I've always wanted to, but you're just too gosh dang loyal to your wife. But I'm never putting the push-up bra away. I still hold out hope.
Right. Yeah. I actually liked that bit as well, because I think it helps to emphasize that their relationship really is something special. That like, here's this other woman just trying constantly to like, hey, I am ready, willing, and able to have an affair whenever you want. And is like very vocal and straightforward about it. And even though he kind of in this alternate reality feels like he maybe has the confidence to go forward with that and be like, you know what, I think I could do that and get away with it, he ends up saying no. And like I think it's Kate's character who then later on says, like, everyone is jealous of our relationship. Like, what we have, other people want. Like, that's something to be proud of, right?
Yes.
And yeah, I liked that, and I think him turning down that affair helped to emphasize like this relationship here is something special.
Yes. I just looked it up. I was only partially listening. I found the original Nicolas Cage Wants Cake video. It is 14 years old. It has been viewed 16 million times. It was uploaded by Harry Partridge, the animator.
Thank you, Harry, for your excellent work here. I don't know if I have too much else to say about this one.
Let's talk about how Don Cheadle is in this movie, but there's not enough Don Cheadle.
Yes, absolutely. Checked the box. They have Don Cheadle, but also they just barely checked the box, right?
He's there at the beginning and a little bit at the end. So Nicolas Cage, Wall Street Nicolas Cage, goes into a convenience store and he tries to buy eggnog from Ken Leung. And then Don Cheadle comes in and he wants to cash in a lotto ticket. And Ken Leung's like, I don't think that's a real lotto ticket. I think that's a forgery. And Don Cheadle pulls out a gun and Nicolas Cage tries to like, that situation. All right, let's talk. Can I help you? And it's this slightly patronizing like act of kindness. I can tell it's a guy who's like, I should do something. I don't know exactly what to do.
More so, it is kind of funny the situation than really doing a kindness. He's like, look, I'll buy the ticket off of you. That way, you still get the 200 and some change that you say, right, and then you don't have to shoot these guys.
It is very funny when he vaguely says to this man, "There must be programs and opportunities for you."
Right, yeah. Patronizing is absolutely the right word.
But like Don Cheadle is an angel, and that's like the gift he gives to
his
Nic
character
Cage.
is too.
Yes. This we all know. Don Cheadle, an angel. I wish we got more of him. I wish he like popped back up throughout the movie, or that Nic Cage like saw him on TV. Or saw him in a mirror
on TV, or was like working at the bowling alley that night. He goes working at the bowling alley, working at the convenience store at the end as well. Yeah, walking a dog the same night that they both got right. Something I don't know. Not enough Don Cheadle. He was good. He's good.
Not enough Don Cheadle in anything.
I mentioned I would loop back around to Jack and Kate. I mentioned that because obviously we're big fans of Lost. Jack
we're big enough
Kate.
fans of Lost that we can spot Ken Leung, a very young Ken Leung who's in it for like 90 seconds.
He's in it for 90 seconds. Obviously, this movie was made before Lost got started, so Jack and Kate is not a reference to Jack and Kate from Lost, but we can... You know, kind of be like, oh, hey, Jack and Kate, there you go. Melissa, there is one other person from Lost in this movie. Do you know who it is?
Not off the top of my head.
I did not know. Before we started recording, I stumbled down a rabbit hole and just kind of stumbled upon this and was like, oh, I would have never known that.
Who else do we have?
So this movie also stars Saul Rubinek playing Alan.
Yes. I do love Saul Rubinek.
Saul Rubinek makes an appearance in Lost Season 2 as the attorney that Michael hires in his custody battle over Walt. And he's only in it for like a single episode. Like, I would have never known, not someone I would recognize. It's just a small bit part,
absolutely. But and Saul Rubinek is a character actor I really enjoy whenever he pops up in anything. And I don't even remember that he's in like one scene of one episode of Lost.
I just happened to stumble on that and was like, whoa, holy moly, who's Finney? I don't remember a Finney from Lost. And I had to look it up. But there you go. Okay, bingo cards. I don't think we really have much of a bingo up there. At least I don't.
I have something. If I put it on my card, I have it.
We would have
because
gotten
I know it was
actors
on our
from
list.
Lost, but we've already gotten that one. We've
Oh.
already marked it off. So
I have also already marked off what I thought I was marking off here, which is foggy glass shower door for PG-13 nudity.
Yeah, good scene. Good scene on that one. Some good side boob action.
One of the prime examples of that in this movie.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. It's not really a time loop, right? Like he doesn't like relive this stuff, so I can't get that. I don't know. Yeah. So not much of a bingo update for us.
No.
This time. So Melissa, let me ask you, recommendations for people who liked this. What else might they enjoy?
If you want a Christmas movie where some high-powered business executive guy learns a lesson and learns that he should get back together with his old sweetheart, you can watch Scrooged, the Bill Murray film Scrooged. We watched that
absolutely.
For episode 136 of the review show several Christmases ago. At the beginning of the movie, Wall Street Nic Cage is singing a lot of opera. This is the biggest and most bombastic Cage we get in the movie, is the Cage over the opening credits, where he's just putting a suit on and loudly singing opera. A callback, perhaps, to his performance in the movie Moonstruck. Moonstruck is a romantic comedy from the late 80s. Cher won an Oscar for this. If you've ever seen the gif of her slapping Nicolas Cage and shouting, "Snap out of it!" It's from Moonstruck. In the movie Moonstruck, it's a younger Nicolas Cage. This is one of his earlier film roles. He plays a baker who is missing a hand. He had his hand cut off, I think, in a bread slicing accident. So now he has a fake hand. He's still baking bread. He's really angry all the time, and he's obsessed with the opera.
Okay.
And he dates Cher, and Cher wins an Oscar, and that's the film Moonstruck. Moonstruck's very charming. I do recommend it. I'd love to get it in here for one of our National Treasure weekends in the future.
Okay. Good stuff. Yeah, I mentioned it kind of at the top of the podcast, but It's a Wonderful Life. This is kind of obviously what they're playing off of here, where this guy basically gets a second chance at life, gets to relive a little bit and see his impact, see his legacy, all of that good stuff. Go check that one out, because that one's also real good. I think that one holds up pretty well. Pretty solid.
That one is a classic.
Absolutely. I don't know why, but this is almost an entirely out of left field recommendation. I don't know why my mind kept going to this one. Jingle All the Way. Arnold Schwarzenegger, because he at the very start, he also is this like family versus career kind of thing, right? Where he's staying late at the office, holiday party, all of that good stuff, misses his son's karate like new belt ceremony, all of that stuff, and ends up kind of finding a place where he can, be with his family and reconnect with them. So there you go. I found my way to a good connection of why you should go watch Jingle All the Way there. I mean it feels like a pretty typical Christmas movie, so there's lots of ones you could put in there that would fit that. Either it's some Hallmark movie, some straight to streaming Netflix holiday one.
We watched Love Hard, which is a Netflix original Christmas rom-com. Another movie that's fine.
Yeah.
Like no strong red flags, no strong green flags.
Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah, you're right. As I'm thinking of like, I could maybe also recommend like 4 Christmases or something like that. I was thinking, they all kind of like the climax is happening on Christmas Day. That's when all of the antics happen.
Exactly.
And this one is not. Interesting. Yeah, I don't know. Good holiday background vibes, I guess. Right? Rom-com holiday vibes.
Yeah, it's a decent vibes movie. The house they live in is very cute. Very photogenic house. Movie's fine to look at, you know. My question for you is that since we've done a Christmas in July, this really opens the door for how wild we can get with what would otherwise be our Christmas episode at the end of the year.
Sure. July and
Christmas
December.
is checked out.
Big Ed's December to remember tire sales event. Come on down. Buy three, get one free.
Wrestle yourself a deal on wheels. Big Ed's.
Exactly.
I wish we had. Why is Big Ed only in like 2 scenes? Why wasn't this movie full of
more
Big
of him.
Ed the cowboy?
Right? More Big Ed.
We're putting this on the bingo sheet.
Big Ed sequel where Big Ed switches places with his alternate self and where he would have been.
There's somebody else he should have married. We need to put inexplicable cowboy guy on the bingo sheet. Or like guy who just has one really strong aesthetic that doesn't match. Like the guy who's just a Western dude. There's always a guy.
Yeah.
I'll come up with more when
something like
when
that.
Alan Tudyk is just a pirate in the movie Dodgeball.
Yes. Yeah. Exactly. There you go. That's a good one. Cool. Well, that is our bingo and recommendations. So, Melissa, do you want to introduce us to what we will be covering next week? Actually, kind of for this next month-ish? Kind of?
Yeah. In recognition of the 2024 Olympics being hosted in Paris, France, for our 2 episodes in July, we are watching 2 French movies. We've never really spent a lot of time in France here in the review show, so it's due. The country can have a whole month. It's earned it.
Why not?
So the first movie we will be watching on July 14th for Bastille Day, we will be watching the 2021 film Titan.
Yeah.
I can give you a log line of what I think the movie is about, Kyle, if you'd like to hear it, or if you want to continue knowing nothing.
I will take your log line because you said it's what you think it's about.
I think the movie Titan is about a woman who fucks a car and has a car baby.
Nice. Is this how the movie Rubber is made, where we get that sentient tire?
Yeah, I think this is the prequel to Rubber.
Yeah, no wonder Big Ed is such a big shot in the tire industry. He has this sentient tire that's talking to him through all these big deals. It's all one big Hollywood universe. Hollywood CU.
What if we keep referencing Big Ed for years to come?
The only podcast brave enough to reference Big Ed in 2026 and beyond.
None of the other parts of the movie, the family, man. Yeah. Nobody else is. He's not like a character people remember. He's a cowboy father-in-law who sells tires in a scene and a half.
Yeah. Okay. Titan. Interesting.
Titan. Yeah. I've heard it pronounced Titan, but
okay.
We'll watch the film.
Yeah. I also do not speak French, so I do not know how it is pronounced.
I'm not sure if her name is Titan. I don't know if this is a noun, a name, a verb. Don't know what part of the language this is. We're going to watch and learn.
It'll be a big surprise. I've heard interesting things with this one. It was one of those ones that like came on my radar, but I never actually wrote it down. So I kind of forgot about it. So when you mentioned it, I was like, yes, let's do it.
Yes,
let's do that.
Yes.
So yeah, that will be what we are up to for the next episode in honor of the Olympics. So good stuff. Good stuff indeed.
In order the Olympics, watch a woman fuck a car.
Well, they can't do it in bed, so
No.
So yeah, we will wrap things up right there for this podcast. We hope you enjoyed it. But yeah, Melissa, where can the people get in contact with you on the interwebs?
You can email me the old-fashioned way, as if it is the year 2000 when The Family Man was released. Just send me an email at yourhostmelissa@gmail.com.
Good stuff. You guys can find me at Yo Kyle Springer on Threads. And if you want to stay up to date with all of the stuff that we do here at the Whatnauts, we are at the Whatnauts Official, also on Threads. So go like, share, and subscribe. You guys know the deal with all of that. If you made it this far into the YouTube version of this, thank you. There's plenty more videos for you to check out. But yeah, this has been number 296 of the Whatnauts review show. We will see you all next time. Bye.
Bye.